Welcome to Yelling Into the Void, a podcast discussing and exploring topics in World of Warcraft. I'm Tevin. I'm joined as always by Scott. And guys, Blizzard knew Scott was still struggling to come up with a name for his series for his Heal Team 6. So they asked him to name the feature that's coming out tomorrow. So Scott, what'd you come up with?
The new thing that's coming tomorrow is I believe it's called Taco Tuesdays is what we're gonna go with for this one.
Yeah.
Because
Taco Tuesday.
Everybody loves tacos.
That actually might be a better name. But for those who don't know, we're saying tomorrow. It is tomorrow for us. Obviously, this is airing on Wednesday, so it is yesterday for you. But what we're talking about is the turbo boost that Blizzard has.
Oh, that was the name. Yeah, you're right.
So graciously presented us at the end of this season. So most of the episode is going to be Scott and I covering this turbo boost. And what that means for this season, but not only this season, seasons going forward into the future.
Sure.
Because this does have an impact on seasons in the future if they keep going forward with this. So we'll get on that in a little bit. The other big news, if you haven't seen it, is Legion Remix has been announced now. It was very highly speculated that that's what was going to be happening, but it has now been announced at PAX East that is the next remix that they're going to be doing, along with another secret game mode.
Oh, really?
I don't know if there's anything else that I'm really missing, Scott.
Do we have any inside information on the secret game mode? Well, you'll just have to wait till no, god damn it. We were gonna trick them. You ruined it.
I didn't realize you were trying to trick people.
I'm always trying to trick people. That's my life. Is just trying to trick people into thinking I know what I'm talking about.
Except for knowing that Turbo Boost was the name of the thing that's happening tomorrow.
I believe it's called Taco Tuesday, but nice try. Nice try.
But anyways, guys, I think without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump into the main meat and potatoes of this episode. So, I don't know. There's not really like a ton of news. So like, I guess the most important thing about this turbo boost stuff that we haven't necessarily covered, and the only new news about it, is there's a tax on valorstones now. So to kind of rewind and give everybody like an overview of what this is it is essentially Blizzard saying, okay, we've rated it to, I'm assuming, what is roughly the halfway point of the season.
Probably correct.
And now they're saying, go crazy. Here's your crest unlock or uncap. Here's your valor stones that you can trade between your warband. They're adding more item level and a bunch of other things. The dinar system. So there's a lot. There's a lot that's coming out tomorrow. But really the only thing new that we haven't known about for a couple weeks now is the fact that we're getting kind of diminishing returns when it comes to trading valor stones. So I know Scott knows how I feel about this, and I've got a lot to say about it, but I'm going to let you go first on this one, Scott.
So I think what Blizzard needs to do is take a step back and look at all of the marketing around the War Within and this brand new warband feature they were going to be bringing to the game, and this cool thing that everything is account bound. You just share it with your alts. The point is that you're earning things as a player, not as a character anymore. And this, it's just not, I don't want to go so far as to say bullshit, but it is not how things have shaken out. Like the majority, it's not fair to say the majority of people that play the game will not benefit from warbands, but the vast majority of the currency that exists in the game is not warband transferable. Like the things, anything tied to character advancement or player power, which, you know, is the game, is not tied to warband. And then they finally in the second half of season 2 add something that is connected, which not crests, just the valorstones. And then they just have to put that cap on it. And they've talked in interviews before how the cap was like a system limitation, that like they had to do some weird thing where you couldn't trade between characters like this. So you had to buy boxes that are account bound tradable. And And no, like the cap is just they don't want to give you anything for free. They just
Yeah.
really don't want you to have any like 25% tax means if you are sitting on 2,000 valorstones on a character, and you want to transfer all of those to another character because your character doesn't need them anymore, that's 500. That's 500. You know how many dungeons that is? That's a lot of dungeons to get that amount of valorstones back. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand the insistence that there has to be a penalty for this, that you have to take some sort of step back whenever you're doing this. If that's going to be your game, don't tout this warband feature because it's just not, it's nothing. Like, the coolest thing about the warband feature is uh, warbound until equipped gear dropping from stuff randomly. That is a pretty cool feature, and it is nice to hop on an alt and say, "Hey, I have all this chain, this mail gear," because for some reason it's all mail. I don't know why, but it's like all the warbound gear I get is mail for whatever reason. But I think that's a neat feature. But I think this is so stupid. I think this is so stupid and unnecessary. Like 500 valorstones is a lot when your cap is at 2,000. It just is. 25% tax is stupid.
Yeah.
End
The
of rant.
biggest thing that I have with this is, one, we've already earned them. Like, we've already done the work. Well, like, why are we getting punished for that? Two, you still have a cap. You still can only carry 2,000.
Yeah.
So it's not like you can just continue to do stuff on your main and then send them all over in a lump sum later on, because you still only get 2K.
Mm-hmm.
So that's annoying, because if you are able to stack up to 2,000 and you want to continue going, then you feel like you need to hop over to an alt and transfer things over. And so that's frustrating. It doesn't feel like we're transferring things between a warband. What it feels like is we're going to a vendor and we're converting our soul ash from Shadowlands to shit that we can give to our alts again.
I mean, it's that, except for you don't have to do the math. Like, there's just an interface. They just built an interface for it, and they're calling that warbands. It's so stupid, man. It's so stupid. Like, I think you're so right. We've earned the current, and like, okay. So there's a version, I think, of an argument that could exist that is like, this game is so hyper specific, and every class is different, and indeed every role is different, and so they don't want to offer you advancement down a path with a class that you don't really know, or a spec that you don't really know, or a role you don't really know. I guess I get it's like, just because you're a 3K rated tank doesn't mean you're that good at healer. And so they don't want to allow you to transfer gear to other characters at cost, not without any penalty, because there has to be some consequence for you choosing to funnel it through rather than just get it on that character, because then you'll be better at that character and yada, yada, yada. But I think that argument, like, I could see that argument at the crest level. I think that argument goes away at valorstones because there's no skill required for earning valorstones. There's no difficulty level at which you begin earning valorstones. It's just the thing that you get for doing all the things. And so taxing it is meaningless.
The other part about it is valorstones are already a throwaway currency, in my opinion. Like, they already don't need to exist. And now we're getting punished even more on that for playing an alt. Like, it already sucked that we had to farm them on an alt, and now there's this like light at the end of the tunnel. We can trade them, and then it's like barely a light at the end. It's a candle in the distance instead of a shining bright light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm trying not to be too mad about this, because ultimately, like, I don't actually know how many valorstones I would be transferring between my characters, because like, at the same time, we're also getting like 40 new gear slot upgrades we have. So all the I'm sitting at 2k on my main right now, but I feel like all of those valorstones are going to be going immediately towards upgrading as much gear as I possibly can anyway.
Yep.
So like this is not like a day one problem, but this to me, like this is a philosophical problem. This is a philosophical thing of like it you have told this story about this commitment to a new version of the game, an alt-friendly version of the game where you don't have to earn things multiple times, where you only have to go through things one time on your main, and it's unlocked for your warband. I mean, like they added stuff, right? Like the portal system we've talked about has been great. It's been great that my alts have all their portals. And then you go and do something like this, and it's like, y'all can't fucking help yourself, can you? Like, they sat in a meeting and we're like, well, we got to put a tax on it. And someone was like, well, why though? Well, because you can't just give people the thing that they earned on another character. But why? But why not? Well, because then they wouldn't earn it on the other character.
So, Scott, here is, I think, the fundamental thing that we have to ask ourselves, because we were touting this a couple weeks ago when the dinar system was announced. But, like, we are once again in a situation at which we are not happy with the implementation, but it is better than it was before.
Sure.
Yeah. So, like, how many times does Blizzard have to give us this, like, kind of what we want, this half-ass version of what we want, before it really starts to become a problem, and it isn't like, it doesn't feel like we can give them the benefit of the doubt anymore?
Yeah, I mean, incredibly valid point. I don't know. Like this is there are these conversations like the one button macro and the stuff we talked about last week, where it's just like, I'm a little uncertain about your implementation, even the dinar system. Yeah, I'm a little uncertain about your implementation, but I feel like your philosophy around the system is sound, to the point where I have a reasonable amount of optimism that you will iterate to a place where this is good, even if it's not great right now. This to me doesn't feel like that. It feels to me like an older version of the game and the company just kind of struggling to grasp onto it and hold on to it a little bit, in just a silly kind of way. Like, I mean, I guess that is even the question that we're not clear on. Like, first of all, the things we don't know are, is this turbo boost thing going to be something they're going to do every season from now on, that we will reach the midway point of the season and we'll just do this? And I think we said the first time we talked about this, they haven't said, and they're not going to say, because they want to reserve the right to not do that if it doesn't work out. They're just like, if this is great and everyone loves it, yeah, we'll do it again. If it's not great and it doesn't actually work out, no, we're just going to pretend like this is why they even named it Turbo Boost, because it's like this perfect goblin theme thing where they can just be like, no, that was just like a goblin thing, and we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah. So sorry. Go ahead. The thing that I really want to ask, though, is like, I completely get what you're saying. Like, this doesn't feel like it's an iteration on anything. It doesn't feel like it has any future for iteration. So that is valid. And maybe I'm kind of wrong in lumping those in the same boat as dinars, but it just does feel like we have gotten, like, they listen to feedback and they're like, oh yeah, you know what? That's actually a good idea. And then they take it back to the conference room and everybody sits down and it's like, but it isn't hard enough yet. So make it harder.
Yeah. It's so fascinating. Like, I just don't know. Like, this is the same with the dinar stuff and the myth track stuff, though. It's like, I think this is, I mean, I guess it could link up in the fact that their kind of MO is always going to be start as conservative as humanly possible. Anytime they introduce any new system, they are going to be extremely conservative with it, and then they're going to open up stuff later. Like, there's a part of me that still thinks, and maybe this is just wishful thinking, that when midnight rolls around, one of the things they're going to say is, hey, we've decided to make crests warbound tradable. Like, we started with the system, we kept it to just like the open world currencies, and we were like monitoring how this would work throughout the entire expansion, and now we're comfortable that we can unlock this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I bet that would have a tax to it as well the first time they unlock it. But like, so yeah, I mean, like, I think we're gonna make valorstones warband transferable for the first time. You can like doing the sitting down in the meeting argument again. Like, how can we implement this in the most conservative way possible? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, that the most it just is to put a tax on it, just to put a thing where you lose valor stones by doing this, and that way, like, and again, like, is this going to be a thing that's done forever from now on? Like, from now on, are valor stones going to be warband transferable at a 25% tax, or is this specific to turbo boost? Is another thing they haven't said intentionally because they don't want to commit to anything, but like the part of it, so the part of it that you can kind of understand the wanting the tax on it part of it is if it is a system that's going to be in the game every day going forward, because you could see some bullshit shenanigans that happen like first day of a season if you've got like 10 characters all with 2k valor stones saved up. But this is exactly why I don't think they're going to put this in day one of the season anyway. But even then, you're still limited out by the crests. Like, you can't just willy-nilly upgrade everything you have. You have this other system built in that has artificial limits anyway. So I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to talk my way into a way that this makes any kind of sense, and I just can't. But I think it is ultimately like, we are afraid of doing anything without having any kind of limiting factor on it. And you think about valor stones, you think about the warbound and warband transferable stuff. It's the only way to put a limiting factor on it that I can think of.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got a really weird relationship with valor stones. Like, I really feel like this system was better back in Dragonflight, where we had so many flight stones that they like just weren't ever a question.
Well,
Like,
but then remove the currency, right? Like, if
exactly.
either the currency, I mean, the problem with valor stones is it's the feast or famine nature of it, right? Like, you are either going to have so many that you're not earning them because you're capped, or you're not going to have enough. And there's really very few moments in any character's progression cycle where they are in between those two extremes. And so like, it's you either don't notice it at all, or it's limiting and incredibly frustrating. And yeah, again, to your point, there's no real solid way of farming them. Like, yes, you can run dungeons, and I think you get like a little over 100 if you get the bonus from someone's score going up, right? And depending on key level, right, it goes up as you go in higher keys. So, but that's still a pretty slow way of farming these things. And like, world quests are a terrible way of farming these things. They give like nothing. Like, you tend to get a lot just naturally in a new patch cycle because there's usually a story quest, and every story quest will give a little bit. But it's just, there's no reliable way of farming them. If you want people to have to do other content to farm them, make them worthy of farmable content. Like imagine if there was just once a week, or maybe once every 3 days, like twice a week or something, there is just one world quest on that gives like 250 or more valor stones. Like, everyone would do that world quest. Of course they would. And that gets people out into the open world, that has people flying around doing things and interacting, and it solves your problem. But that doesn't exist. There's no, so yeah, like, the feeling of having to farm valor stones is the worst feeling in the world. Like, farming crests is okay because there's you understand the very specific ways to get them. They're also capped for most of the season. So you've got like a very built-in, like, I need to do this many dungeons to get this. But like, valor stones, it's also just not clear. How many do you get from a dungeon? I don't know. It's not
just
clear.
depends.
It depends on a lot of different factors, some of which are out of your control.
Yeah. I don't know, man. So outside of valorstones, though, like, I I feel like I could bitch about this for another 20 minutes, but we've already been bitching about it for 15. Like, it's shit. The valorstones in general are shit. The tax is shit. The fact that they have a cap ever is shit. Like, I do not like this currency. I have never liked this currency, and like I said, it was in its best iteration, in my opinion, when we didn't have to deal with it in Dragonflight.
Yeah,
Like,
I do hope
I
they
don't
take a
know
look
if
at this next expansion and be like, does it make sense? Does this accomplish our goals as we originally created them?
yeah. And so that it brings us to crests, because like I said, I don't want to get stuck in the Valorstone loop for too long,
Sure.
but crests are becoming uncapped with this as well, which in my opinion is a good thing. There is a really big drawback to this that I don't think we've thought about, and I didn't really think about until I was teasing Scott about it yesterday. Um, but if you're on an alt and you're farming tens, you will eventually get to a point at which you're earning rune crests from those 10s
Mm-hmm.
or sixes or whatever you end up doing. Um, but with it becoming uncapped, you don't. So you're just forced to go back and do the lower content, which we haven't been forced to do all season.
So it's funny. I completely understand why you think this, and I thought this too. It's not actually true. So it's weird. It's weird how the mind works, because I it took me forever thinking through this in my head to get to a point where I was comfortable with this. But essentially, yeah, when the rule is, if people don't know, when you cap for the week on a certain level of crest, every crest you earn at that level from that point on will just be at the lower level, and it will continue. So if you cap at ruined, then you'll get carved, I think it is, all the way down to weathered. However, there is also a system in the game in which you can just take 15 gilded crests and turn them into 15 ruined crests. That system exists right now. There's no penalty on that. And that is in essence the same thing as if I was capped and I
Sure.
and they automatically down convert. The thing about it though is it doesn't feel like that though. It still feel like when you've earned the gilded crests and they're in your hands, and the game is telling you give those up, those things that you're definitely going to need later, because as soon as you upgrade this thing with rune crests, you're going to need those gilded crests to upgrade them. Like it feels different, like giving those away, and then
Yeah.
and then um and then being able to advance beyond them eventually. But in a world where crests aren't capped, that is, I think, just going to have to be the thing you do. Um, it just like psychologically feels very, very different from, oh, well, I'm capped on my crests, and so everything I get now is just bonus to those earlier ones, which is great because I'm not quite done with those yet anyway. And it's
Yeah.
automatically filling. But yeah, no, I totally get why you thought this, and because I thought it too. But essentially, there is a system built in the game for that.
The other thing about this too, it made me think back to season God 2 of Dragonflight, where they first introduced this system, the
Uh-huh.
crest system. And I remember vividly that season. I think the first 2 or maybe even 3 weeks, I was capping on the highest level of crests, but I was down converting all of them
Mm-hmm.
into the version below it to upgrade my items.
Yeah.
Um, and like, I have never thought about down converting crests since then. Like, it has always been just use the highest crest that I can, get a replacement now in War Within, because they finally added that feature where if you're capped and you're doing content that gives you the crest you're capped on, you get below that.
Mm-hmm.
um so yeah, no, I mean, you make a very good point. It's a good thing to have as a fallback. And I guess as another call out here around crests, if you don't think about it, a lot of characters you might be sitting on some low crests that you don't really give a shit about. Take those and uptrade them, and you might be able to cut out a couple of dungeons every week
Yeah.
until tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I definitely took advantage of that when I came back to the game and was very, very behind, for sure. And yeah, I mean, I'm sitting right now on 90 gilded crests on my main, and 315 or whatever the cap is. I think That sounds about right. 315 ruined crests as well. So I will be immediately upgrading those ruined crests to gilded crests at a 3-1 penalty, of course, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah, I kind of thinking back on this, Scott. I almost wonder if at some point you and I were like, "Let us trade crests and valorstones. I don't give a shit if you even tax them." And now here we are bitching about a potential tax on valorstones. It makes me fucking laugh. But hey,
I mean, you're probably
that's where
right.
we're at.
You're probably right, but it's just interesting. Like, I think it just like the having to give up your gilded crests to get ruined crests, even though you need them. It's psychological. It's like the tax on the valorstone thing, even if it's not actually that bad, it feels bad when a video game is telling you you've earned this thing. Now, if you want to use this thing, you're going to have to pay a fee to do that.
Yeah,
That just feels bad. It just doesn't feel good to do that. And like, I feel like there's other solutions to limit the passing of crests and valorstones around without making it feel bad.
Yeah. So, okay. I don't know if there's really anything else to talk about with crests. This is just the general thing that happens every season.
Yep.
I can tell you with pretty extreme confidence that this will again happen in the mid-season of season 3.
Yeah,
crests
they always
will
do
become
this, yep.
unlocked every single season.
One question. I don't actually know. Is this earlier than it was last season? So right now, the max number of gilded crests you can earn is 900. And then it will unlock. So starting next week, it will be whatever, unlimited. But I feel like in previous seasons, I've seen like a 990 week or even like a 10, whatever math that is, 1080 week. So it feels like it's happening maybe a week or two earlier than it has historically.
It feels earlier, but also I've enjoyed this season, so it's felt like it's went faster.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
So I don't actually remember vividly what caps were when they unlocked. Also, by the time that they were unlocking in previous seasons, I didn't need gilded crests anymore, just like I don't need them now, but they also weren't adding in the ability to upgrade your gear more.
Yeah.
So like I still didn't care that they were uncapping, where I kind of do care that they're uncapping now.
No, for sure. The only reason we actually care about this uncapping this week is because we're going to need a shit ton of crests next week to upgrade all our gear. So you're totally right. Otherwise, it would be, oh, did I get a new myth track piece this week? No? Okay. Well, I guess I have nothing to spend these on.
Yep. Get 90 more crests and sit on them.
Yep.
But so that kind of brings us into the item changes. We've talked about this in previous episodes, but I do think that it's at least worthwhile for us to chat through this. And Scott, I believe you and I are both in agreement here that this is the big question mark on whether if they're going to continue doing this in future seasons or not, because this has a direct impact on the way that people are going to interact with the seasons.
Oh, yeah.
Especially for people who push high-end Mythic Plus and are trying to achieve title or trying to get CE. Like, this will have a direct impact on those guilds and those teams.
Yeah.
So essentially what's happening is everybody is going to be, assuming you are wearing all hero, crafted, or myth track gear, you're going to be getting 6 additional item levels starting tomorrow. The ability to get 6 additional item levels.
Yeah. So you just look at your average item level today and add 6 to it. And that when you're fully capped on everything that they're adding tomorrow, that's where you'll be.
Mm-hmm. So you have 2 additional tiers on myth and hero items. So that's going to make them, 8 upgrade tiers?
Yeah, they'll both be 8.
6.
Yep, they'll both be 8.
Yeah. So that's happening. Crafted items are getting an additional item that you can purchase for, shocker, 30 gilded crests to then upgrade your item to 681 rather than 675, which will require a recraft and still will require a gilded enchanted crest, I believe, which, funnily enough, 60 plus 30 equals 90, which was the initial cost for enchanted gilded crests at the beginning of the season. So we're just back to having crafted items cost 90 gilded crests again.
Yeah, but I think the
Um,
big deal of that in season 1 was the fact that was your entire crest budget for the week when they were capped, right? Like you wanted to make
Yep.
one thing that you had to spend every crest you got that week on it, and that made so
Mhm.
it made it a bad choice to do that. So I mean, basically what they made is just to get every upgrade track, whether it's on a hero piece or a mythic piece or crafted, you're going to have to spend extra crests, is what they've done, which I guess makes sense. I was hoping on the crafted items they just wouldn't do that, but no, they have done it. So
But again, the best way to think about this is you're just gonna be able to get an additional 6 item level. Like that.
yep,
That is really all you need to think about. That is all. Like every single piece of gear is going to require 30 additional crests to upgrade
mm-hmm.
because it is going to be 15 and then 15, and then for crafted pieces it's just a flat 30. So again, like this is in part why we care about crests uncapping, because while you probably have a lot of gilded crests stored up, you probably don't have enough to upgrade all your pieces, because we're looking at a price of about 450 gilded crests. I think exactly 450 gilded crests to upgrade all of your pieces
Yeah,
to
if
the new maximum item level.
that is if you use a two-hander. If you use 2 one-handers, I think it'll you add 30 to that, so it'll be 480,
Or
right?
if you're a Fury Warrior,
Yeah,
get
sure,
fucked.
sure. So yeah, if you're a two-hander user, it's 450. If you use one-handers or two-handers, it's 480. Which as we just said is half of the total amount of crests we've been able to earn all season. Which is a lot, but again, you're capped. Who cares? Or you're not capped,
Mhm.
rather.
So that does boil down. Scott did the math for you guys to about 28 tens or 23 12s, roughly, on
Yeah.
both of those. Um, so, yeah, I mean, we're looking at about 25 to 30 dungeons to get your new BIS item level. I mean, that doesn't seem terrible. I've done 20 dungeons in 1 week this season on points.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, like the hardcore people are going to do it all in a week, right? And then the people that aren't that hardcore are going to probably do it over the course of a few weeks, and I think that's fine, right? It's like this is, and then you're fully upgraded and you're basically done.
mhm.
And then yeah, if you want to push higher, you can. So yeah, I mean, I'm like, I think that feels fair to me. Like I said, since they changed the rate at which you acquire crests at the very end of season 1, I am basically just fine with the crest acquisition rate. I think it feels very fair. I think I tested this fully when I took a month off from the game and came back and had to catch up, and I just felt like it was not that big of a deal for me to catch up. I didn't feel like I had to do 30 dungeons in a week to catch up, or else I was going to be behind. Like I just I played pretty casually, and I'm caught up. So I think the crest acquisition rate is actually at a very good place right now, and this feels very fair to do like
Mhm.
yeah, like 23 12s. I mean, that's literally, if you're only doing your 8 dungeons, that's 3 weeks, right? Um so that's not too bad.
Yeah, the other thing is to like, it, again, this is like quintessential to the way that the gearing system is, but like for mains, this is like not an issue at all, right? Like Scott said, it's 3 weeks of additional time on your main, and then you're good to go. The thing that I could see this being like feeling like more of a slog on is when you're still gearing up your alts and you need to go through the rune crests, and then you need to do the entirety of your gilded crest grind. I mean, you just essentially are taking and adding what, 25% additional, 33% additional crests that you need to get to upgrade all of your items.
I mean,
And
it's 50% additional gilded, right? Like it's another 450 from what we've earned so far. So
oh yeah, because hero items would only be 2 gilded. Yeah,
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 yeah.
you're right. So
So
yeah, no.
it's a lot. Like I mean, speaking of Crest Mountain, like yeah, I mean, like from the perspective of a main, it's nothing. But from the perspective of yeah, like if you were to roll a new alt tomorrow, that's a pretty steep climb. It's going to feel like that's a lot of crest. It is essentially back to the way it was in season 1. I do think there is like that's going to feel different because I don't know, like once you're at like the average item level across all people might be like mid 470s, which is right now it's just like mid 460s, and it's going to go up by 6, right? But like 10s are so easy this season, and like 12s aren't that bad either, that like you're not going to feel on your alt as like I have to get up to 475 or whatever it is, 675. I have to get up to 675 before I even try a 12 on my alt. Like that's not the way it's going to roll. Like it's just not. So like I feel like, and again maybe this is just psychological, but I feel like on my alts, once I've gotten to about where my main is right now, before all this stuff, I'll be like, okay, cool. I'm pretty much ready to do anything. But yeah, I mean, if you're trying to get an alt maxed out, if you're trying to say like part of the fun of the game is to maxing out an alt, the game has just added a bunch more work for you to do. Yeah, if
Yeah.
you were gonna roll that alt tomorrow, that's definitely true.
So I guess the main thing to say here is let's see how this goes.
Yeah,
I have reservations, and to get into like the kind of second half part of this, looking to the future, that's where a lot of my reservations come from. I think that doing this in the mid season in general isn't a bad idea. It keeps people engaged. It keeps them kind of climbing the gear ladder, feeling like they have something to do, rather than just pushing IO or pushing for higher keys or whatever. But the implication of this is if they continue to do this, then it's just better to wait until after the midseason to really do major pushing or pushing for CE, or anything like that, unless you're trying to obviously be world first or something
yeah. If
along
you're
those
trying to be
lines.
Hall of Fame, it makes like it just doesn't change anything you're doing. But yeah, I mean, like other than the fact that the game is fun and you enjoy playing it, it does kind of build this artificial wall in the middle of a season that everything on one side of the wall is just greener if you just wait for that to happen. Like I there's part of me that's like, if this is what we're gonna do every season from now on, why not just do that from the start of the season? You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
like why not just have just make the gear progression path longer from the get-go. Don't like artificially time gate it by saying the gear progression path up to week 10 is this, and then now it's this. Why not just be like the whole time it's this? And there's reasons for that, and there's like I just, it feels a little weird to me just in general. Like just like I think we've already talked, like this is a way to retain players, and it's a very smart way to retain players because it will work, but it's like it's also like one of the least creative ways to retain players. It's just like, instead of having something new for you to do, we're going to give you a reason to do the stuff you've already been doing, and it's just like more we're doing it again, and like that's already what new seasons are, right? Like essentially, if you boil it down, it's like get on the gear treadmill again. Go, 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 go. That's what new seasons are. And
Yep.
no, there's new raids, there's new dungeons. Like it's not entirely that, but this is just like we've installed a treadmill on top of your treadmill, but we don't turn it on until you've been running on the other treadmill for 10 weeks, and then you can get on the super treadmill. It just feels a little weird. So I mean, this is probably why they have not said anything permanently about any of this, because they're just like, they're probably also looking at like from a numbers perspective. Like I would expect us to see a spike in Mythic Plus dungeons completed next week. I think, we
Mhm.
watch the graph steadily trends downward. I would expect us to have a spike up. But the question is how much of a spike up, and
Yeah.
is it worth it?
The other thing, to give Blizzard credit, they did try to do this initially, somewhat. I mean, we did initially have an additional myth track, like upgrade tier or two upgrade tiers or whatever, right? So
Sure.
people weren't happy about that either. So I'm not sure that there's a right way for them to go about doing it,
Yeah, yeah.
unfortunately.
I mean,
um,
it's all, like, I don't know. At the end of the day, it's all meaningless. Like, it's just a gear number. Like, the one thing that's going to happen is if like you really wanted to get that new 3K IO achievement, it's going to be pretty easy to do. Not incredibly easy, but it's going to be much, like, tomorrow it will be much easier to get that than it is
Yeah.
today, for sure.
Comparatively, it's significantly easier. I
Yeah.
mean, 6 item levels over your entire character is a significant amount of HP alone.
Yeah.
So
And it, like, I don't know. Again, I'm not the best player in the world, so don't think this comes from a place of conceit or like self-aggrandizement. But like, tens this season are pretty easy. Like, I hopped on a 640 Resto Druid and just was doing tens. They're not that hard, and so like, I really feel like, I just imagine how easy a ten's gonna be when you're 676, which is what my item level will be after I max everything next week, and like, it's gonna be insane. And like, getting 12s done, no big deal. And maybe that's great because maybe it'll encourage people that are a little afraid of pushing into those higher numbers. That gives them a little confidence. It's like, I'm 6 item levels higher than I was last week. I have that many more hit points. I have like, there's room. There's just a little bit more room for error in these hierarchies, and maybe it's giving me the comfort to try it and try to push a little bit. And I think that's good for the health of the game. But it does make, yeah, like, it does make weirdness. It makes weirdness with, okay, well, I'm not incentivized to push because the world record key is about to go up. You know, another thing I haven't thought of, are they doing this in the tournament realm? Because the MDI is going on right now. And like we've had 2 groups, we have a third group this weekend, um and then we have the finals. So like, I would assume in the global finals everyone will be at the new max item level, which is going to be kind of wild.
I could see it. I have no idea what they're going to do for MDI. I unfortunately think that they're experimenting with the MDI and TGP has failed when it comes to me and
When it
viewership.
comes to
Like,
me, like, I do think it's interesting how little, like, this is a good season of Mythic Plus, right? We've said this. We agree with this. It seems like the majority of the player base agrees with this. I have never cared about MDI as little as I care about it right now. And I don't
yeah,
know what that is. I like, in season 1, I think we talked about this, and I think I said it's because I don't like the season and I don't like the dungeons and I don't think it's great. But like, now here we are, and no, I love the dungeons. I love the season. I think it's all great. I think the things that they've added to MDI, like the forcing the comp switching stuff, is a good idea. Why don't I want to watch it? I don't know.
hmm
I just don't.
it's very weird because the last time that I would say there was a significantly good season, I was very much so involved in the MDI and wanting to watch every second of it. And that was back in season 3 of Dragonflight for me. I know season 4 wasn't terrible, but
Yeah. Well, and this is purely anecdotal, but I feel like the content creators that I follow are not following it as much either. Like,
true.
I am used to, like, in some of the previous MDIs, you would have Max and JB and Growl and Dorky when he's not competing in it. All of those guys would be in a call together and they would be live reacting to it the entire time. I booted up the MDI on Wednesday and it's just poor JB all by him, J.B all by himself, just watching the MDI and talking about it. And like, there's no Max, there's no Growl. Dorky is, I think, in it, although I thought he was in it this weekend and then he definitely wasn't. So I don't know, but it's just like, again, that's purely anecdotal. That's not any kind of actual numbers based evidence, but it just feels like the sentiment that you and I are sharing of kind of indifference in it,
hmm
is shared by the community at whole. And
Yeah.
that's interesting. I don't know why. And it's not like, I guess you could say maybe big names, but Echo's in it. They're just renamed, right? Like, Echo is playing. They're called
Yep.
Wunderbar, but um, I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't know why it's just kind of petered out. I feel like at one point, like MDI in doing keys quickly used to be doing keys quickly and at a high like difficulty level for
Mhm.
the keystone, and over the years had become do keys quickly at an average keystone level, but do them insanely fast. And then now the quickness part of it is gone, and it is just essentially the TGP format for the MDI.
Mhm.
And I, I don't know. I don't know how I really feel about it. I feel like it was the most interesting when it was like, how ungodly fast can we do these dungeons, and how much can we break them? Like that's where I feel like it was the most interesting for me.
Well, let me ask you the unholy question, which is it because we don't have affixes anymore? Is it because the
Mm,
MDI keys are all the same?
I don't think so. I never really paid attention to the affixes in the MDI anyways. Like they always did them perfectly, so it just didn't matter.
I
Like
mean, not
it,
entirely though. There's times when like Sanguine like fucked over teams and like I mean
yeah,
they
but that was never a time where it was like, "Oh my god, Sanguine fucked over the team." That was like "Oh, yep, there's Sanguine. That affix fucking sucks." I'm sure they're pissed off.
but
Like
yeah, but like if you have two teams are competing head to head in a key and like one of them fucks up Sanguine and one of them doesn't, that like adds dynamism to the run
sure.
um in a way that like maybe you don't get as much cuz like the routes are very cut and dry right now, right? Like everyone is kind of running the same or very similar route. Um and there's no variability because there's no affixes. And so the variation they're trying to input in is the specs, right? And we did see a lot of different classes and specs. I think we saw every single class was represented in the MDI last weekend, which is like never never happened ever. Not every spec, obviously, but every single class was played, um, which is kind of crazy and good and good. But again, my response to that is like, eh. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just us, but it feels weird.
You might be onto something, Scott. I think they should add affixes back specifically for the MDI,
Yeah.
and we shouldn't have to deal with them.
No, I think we should bring back quaking and grievous,
Shut up.
bursting,
Just stop. Nope.
bolstering,
Please stop.
sanguine, all of them. Bring them like
Thundering.
and yeah, thundering. Make that just a key level 4 affix. Just everyone has to deal with that every day of their lives. And I think that's how you save Mythic Plus. So we should do it.
So I do. We got just slightly off track talking about the MDI. There is one other thing with Turbo Boost that we haven't talked about. We've talked about it in the past. Dinars are being added tomorrow. I'm including that in Turbo Boost, whether Blizzard wants me to or not. Fuck you, it's happening.
I think it is.
Um,
I think it is. I think it comes out tomorrow. It's part of it.
yeah. So the thing that is interesting about this is the annoyances that we have with the way that dinars are happening during raid or being handled for raid. But also now, if you have all timed 12s, you can just use dinars to get myth track dungeon loot too.
Just
I think
trinkets.
trinkets specifically,
Yep, just trinkets.
um, which is slightly annoying. There are some weapons that aren't terrible in dungeons, but that being said, like this is the only way to guarantee a myth track piece from doing dungeons that you want, and I think that that is good. Again, you need all 12s to do it.
Yep.
But I'm hopeful that they see that this is a good thing, and the next iteration of dinars that they do, if it isn't just let us get dungeon loot as well, um, they open up the pool of things that you can get from dungeons potentially. So, but anyways, again, dinars are coming tomorrow as well. That is another way in which we are going to get even more deterministic player power, and is generally, in my opinion, a good thing, albeit implemented in a slightly weird way for raid.
Have you looked at your Wowhead article for what you should buy your cartel chips on?
Not since the beginning of the season.
Okay, well, yeah, they've all the Wowhead guides, like the BIS guides, are updated with these are the things you should spend your puzzling cartel chips on, and it makes me sad.
Is it all raid items?
I mean, yes, but like, um, it like for my Resto Druid, it's the Jaster Diamond, which makes sense. But I just know I won't be able to get that on Mythtrack, so I'm sad. It's actually Jaster Diamond before Mr. Pick Me Up, which is wild.
Yeah.
But like,
I think I was doing some Sims earlier, and on my death night, the hero House of Cards is going to be better than the Myth Priory Trinket.
I'm pretty sure that's the case on just about every single healer. Because I have the Myth Priory Trinket. Because I got it in my vault.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm obviously never getting any Myth Raid trinkets. So...
Yep. Especially one-off one-arm bandit. That boss looks like it fucking sucks on Mythic. So...
actually, interesting. Yeah. I just checked, and per Mistweaver, I'm being told that Mr. Pick Me Up and the carved Blazicon wax are the best trinkets.
The wax is good if you can stand in it. I think that's the one you have to stand in.
It is the one you have to stand in it, yeah.
But if you can't stand in it, it's probably worse than something else.
But the thing I wasn't sure of is whether Mug's Moxie Jug would be better than a Mythtrack trinket I could get from dungeons. And it seems like the answer is no to that. So,
well,
am I going to get this fucking carved Blazicon wax then? I really don't want. I hate that drink. I really don't want
it. So I guess there's not really much else to say about Turbo Boost. I think the best way, in my opinion, to look at this is a wait and see kind of mentality.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of things that I think are weird with it. There's things that I think could be very awkward if they continue going forward with it. And please, God, oh God, Blizzard, please remove the fucking 25% tax on valorstones, please.
You know, they're just gonna up it for you. You're gonna get 33%.
I don't want them to tax it. I just, you know what? Give me 100% tax, and then I'll never have to deal with the currency ever again, and you can remove it from the game. How about that? That's fine too. You can do that.
I'm sorry, 100% tax on transferring valorstones?
Yeah, I don't want them anymore.
So you would just give them to an alt, but not
get on. Yeah,
that seems like a bad call. You shouldn't do that.
I should just add a trash can icon right next to the valorstones.
I mean, there's a lot of trash cans in the Undermine.
That's true. But all right, let's keep moving on. The Legion remix is the next thing that I wanted to talk about.
Hell yeah.
Legion remix and the new like secret game mode. I anticipate this not being a very long section of the show because there's really not a ton of information about it.
Also, because I didn't play Mr. Pandaria Remix and don't really understand how it worked.
The main thing though that I think is very cool about this is if everything we assume is going to be the same as Mr. Pandaria Remix, and like you have the infinitely scaling power and you can get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger every however frequently, and maybe there's going to be a new frog farm where people just farm frogs to get infinite power.
I hope not.
They're also adding Mythic Plus to this, so that tied in with Mythic Plus is going to be potentially insane, and I think potentially insane in a very fun, interesting way.
Yeah, well, we said last week, right, that they have made it pretty clear that there's not going to be a season 4 of this expansion, right? So season 3 is the final season of the expansion. And so, you know, we go through our normal Mythic Plus with season 4, but there's still going to be a dead period before Midnight comes out. What can we do in that dead period? There's more Mythic Plus. Let's go. Only this time it's Legion Mythic Plus and Remix. That is a great idea, actually. When like we were speculating like a year ago about Legion Remix and I said how excited I was about it, it was just because like I never got to experience Legion when it was live, and also I feel like the remix version would unlock a lot of the transmogs that you just can't get anymore in Legion. There's a lot of like the artifact weapon looks that are just impossible to get now. And I was like, oh, cool. Maybe this is an opportunity to get all that shit because there's a lot of cool weapons there that I would like for my characters that I haven't been able to get. But then, yeah, then you add this Mythic Plus shit in it, and like Mythic Plus with like crazy powerful characters that can do all this shit. That sounds really fun. And like the pressure is off, right? Because even if it's horribly unbalanced and either horribly easy or horribly hard, like who cares? Because
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
it's yeah.
I mean, people were doing the Mythic Raid and Mop remix, like one-shotting bosses.
Yeah.
So like it, they clearly don't care about the power creep, and I think that's the best way to think about this.
We're timing plus 50s, baby. Let's do it.
The other thing about this that I did want to bring up, and you're not going to be familiar with because you didn't play, like you said, but a lot of the artifact weapons. So the way artifact weapons worked were like you got the weapon, and then you had this like node system, essentially a talent system inside your weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And the first point that you would pick, it would give you a new ability. And for a lot of classes, that new ability is just a talent now. So I'm thinking like Strike of the Windlord for Windwalkers is just a talent. Phoenix Flames is just a talent for Fire Mage. What else? The Odin's Fury for Fury Warriors is just a talent. Like I'm wondering what they're going to do with artifact weapons and talents and everything, since essentially we're going like you play through Legion, but you're in the new system of talents and everything. So
Yeah,
it's
Mop
going to be
Remix.
very interesting.
Mop Remix had it was the current talents at the time in
Yeah.
Dragonflight. So yeah, I think that's how it will go. Yeah, I mean, my guess is they just completely redo the artifact weapon to match the power progression system that was in Mop Remix. Whatever new iteration of the power progression system that existed in Mop Remix that they're going to be porting over to this, they will probably build whatever shit you're going to get in the weapon as part of that.
Mm-hmm.
They will. I think they will redo it in my mind. So
it'd be really cool to log into a Fire Mage and get like 6 charges of Phoenix Flames, though. Not gonna lie.
I just don't. Up. I mean, maybe, but I just don't think that's going to happen because it'll be really inconsistent, right? So it's like,
yeah,
like Strike of the Windlord. To your point, it's like, whoa, we just get 2 charges of that, and that won't. I mean, that won't feel that impactful at all. Like, I just think they have to redo it.
Mm-hmm. But so the only other thing that we have left, Scott, is this new secret game mode. And the last time they had a secret game mode, I was skeptical at best when it was announced. And boy, oh boy, did it blow me out of the water. Like that.
Was that a
Plunder Storm
pun
was
intended?
like,
was that, hold on, pun intended?
maybe slightly pun intended. Plunder Storm was amazing. Like the first iteration of Plunder Storm was phenomenal in my opinion. I played hours upon hours upon hours of that, and I enjoyed literally every second of playing it. I didn't really play it when it came back, not because I didn't want to, but that game is more fun with people to play with, and I didn't really have anybody to play with at the time. But I'm hopeful that they just do something like completely entirely out of left field again and just like really drive it home. I don't know what they could do, because like I was sitting here thinking like, what's something interesting that they haven't done that they could try? And I was thinking like, oh, Dota used to have like tower defense games, or Warcraft used to have tower defense games, and then Dota and everything like that. But they have Warcraft Rumble, so are they really going to do a tower defense? I doubt it. Probably not. So I don't know. I don't really know what they're going to do. A fighting game, maybe.
So we know a little bit about it, right? Very
do
little.
we?
Yeah. So they attached an image to it, which was Darkshire. And they said it was going to be. Sorry, I'm trying to freaking find the Wowhead article as I'm speaking, so that's why I'm speaking in
what I'm doing too,
in a very stilted manner. But I thought they said it was going to be something similar to like a ghost story.
Blizzard confirmed that this upcoming game mode will not be a battle royale like Plunder Storm. Instead, it will have a vibe that is more similar to a scary story.
Yeah, there you go. I was close.
Additionally, the key image appears to take place in the town of Darkshire within the haunted forest of Duskwood.
Yeah. So it's gonna be something spooky.
Like Among Us? Oh yeah, they even say that in the Wowhead article.
Yeah, it could be. It could be like Among Us. Remember we speculated they were gonna have like a Vampire Survivor mode?
Oh, true. Like an auto
Uh,
battler.
yeah, and then that didn't pan out. Could be something like that. So I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's exciting. It's cool. We talked when Planetary Storm came out how much we love them experimenting, and like I think them experimenting with game modes is just infinitely better than just the nonsense that was this latest patch. That's just open world questing, just more of it. And
If they would have released this, whatever they're doing instead of the fucking Arathi like set up the story patch, I probably would be more interested in it.
mhm.
Which is sad because I like the Arathi and I'm excited for the next raid. But like I don't know. The patch doesn't really have anything.
It doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah, and like they can't always do stuff like this, right? Like they just from a timing perspective, like it takes a
Yeah.
long time and a lot of development to do stuff like this. I get it. Um, and there's some people that like don't want the new game mode stuff, like that would be disappointed. Like there's people that want the new world quest stuff. They want new stories and new quests in the world of the game. Um, and so I want stuff for them too. But yeah, I'm so much looking forward to this new game mode than I am any more Super Bloom events.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, by the way, that's one thing we forgot to mention about Legion Remix is one of the other things they said is they are introducing, I forget what the name of it was, but it's like a harder version of the world for open world questing. Similar, I
Oh
think
yeah.
they said it's similar to what Diablo did, which again is not something I played, so I don't have reference to it. But just like basically, if you want more of a challenge in the open world fighting and questing and stuff, there's a way to have like a harder mode version of that, which is cool. That's a cool
Mm-hmm.
idea too.
Well, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I'm excited for Legion Remix. I'm excited for this new game mode. I'm excited for what season 3 is going to bring. And I'm skeptical but optimistic about the current turbo boost idea and kind of where they're going with that. I think that's kind of like my general feelings on the game right now.
Yeah.
Like, I can't really be too upset because the game is in such a good place, in my opinion. Like, I'm loving Mythic Plus. I'm loving the raid. I enjoyed pretty much all the classes that I'm playing. Like, it's in a pretty good spot. So it's
Dude,
hard to be upset at the game.
again, from a very limited perspective, every class that I've played in this season is incredibly fun and unique,
Mm-hmm.
and like it feels like, at least from a design perspective, class balance is in a really good place. So yeah, I mean, I'm very happy with the game right now, and it's pretty cool seeing this other stuff coming. But
Yeah. I'm just hopeful that they continue doing this stuff. I mean, I think Blizzard, like, if we go back 10, 20 years, like, Blizzard is at its best when it's experimenting and doing, like, innovative things.
mhm.
And I think that they've been in this, like, stay in our own lane, take and kind of copy from other people mentality for a while now.
Yeah.
And they've, like, with Dragonflight and the new talents and like stuff like that, they're really starting to like break back out of their shell and do the innovation. And it's nice to see. And now that we've gotten Plunderstorm, we're getting another secret game mode. The 2 remixes, like nobody's done remixes before. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I really do think that that's where Blizzard's at their best. And, if they start paving the way for MMOs and different game types for MMOs again, like we might be coming up into a pretty good era for the Warcraft franchise as a whole.
I hope so. I'm excited. I'm optimistic. And yeah, we'll see how this Taco Tuesday stuff pans out for us.
Well, to wrap it up though, guys, the question for the week that I have for you is, are you planning to push keys harder now that item level, like you have more item level? Do you not care? Are you not coming back to the game? Or are you somewhere kind of in the middle where you're still going to continue to play, but the item level really doesn't affect you and no big deal? So if you have any thoughts on that, as always, you can contact us over at yellingintothevoidwow@gmail.com. YouTube is at Into the Void Wow, and Twitter and Blue Sky are both at Into the Void Wow. Sorry, YouTube clarification is at Yelling Into the Void Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and answer this question for everyone this week. Yes. I'm going to push keys harder because I have 6 more item level. Yes.
Got to get 3K on 6 healers.
Fuck. What have I done? If you're not already subscribed to this podcast, we encourage you to do so and make sure you never miss an episode. Season 3 is coming in August, probably. So that's only 3 months away. Wait, yes, that's how math works. Wow. So this is going to be exciting time across the board. We got season 3 coming. We got all kinds of news. Is Zalateth going to be the final boss of season 3? Maybe not. We'll find out in probably a couple months, but we'll talk about it here. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and pretty much anywhere else podcasts can be found.
Also, guys, please consider liking, subscribing, commenting on the YouTube video. As always, these things help us get introduced to new people and let us continue doing what we're doing here. So please, if you don't mind taking a second, leaving a comment, we'll get back to you. I promise we'll get back to you. But until next week, guys, we'll probably be talking about this disc belt garbage, whatever that is.
Yeah, but, what the fuck is that?
I don't know. I haven't read the article yet, which is why it's not in today's episode. So we'll put that on hold and we'll talk to you about it next week. But until then, we'll just be over here yelling into the void.
It's a 584 belt that I have to do delves to get. Fuck!